that the U.S. and Israel launched against Iran, the casualties now include the Islamic Republic's leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, more than 150 schoolgirls in the southern part of the country, as well as Iran's relationship with the Gulf states and the very notion of international law. The Middle East has been engulfed with missiles crisscrossing in the sky. In Washington, the messaging on this war, the justifications offered, keep changing. Even mainstream media outlets in the U.S., the corporate kind, that have reliably served as tools of public persuasion in previous American wars, have been struggling with that. So they focus on the tactics rather than the strategic side of this, the cause. Anti-war voices are almost completely absent. Iranian representation has been skewed. After his repeated promises that he would be America's peace president, Donald Trump has now bombed 8 countries from South America to Africa and the Middle East. And however hard he and his partner in war crimes, Benjamin Netanyahu, spin it, that is a tough contradiction to sell to Americans, let alone the rest of the world.
This is a war in search of a strategy.
Eliminate the intolerable threats posed by this sick and sinister regime.
Aimed at toppling the regime 1 hour.
It is time to end the Islamic Republic.
Destroying the nuclear program another hour.
We have to prevent Iran from getting nukes.
Creating an Iranian democracy or something the other hour. There is no coherent strategy, and you can see that's reflected in the media coverage of it.
Because in the absence of a strategy, how do you frame a coherent message through the news media? Do you try what Donald Trump did and present yourself as the savior of the Iranian people as you rain missiles down on them?
When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take.
That's a tough sell. Or do you take the Israeli approach and hit them with an AI-modified version of Benjamin Netanyahu, telling Iranians in Persian that freedom awaits?
ما شرایط رو برای مردم شجاع ایران فراهم خواهیم کرد تا خود رو از زنجیرهای استبداد رها کنند.
But on the messaging, the U.S. and Israel can at least count on this, that many of the messengers in the American media are there to help.
Why is attacking U.S. military bases abroad justified?
Because they are attacking us.
I think that question from the NBC anchor is really the embodiment of how U.S. media can't do a professional and objective job when it comes to foreign policy reporting.
And now Iran is firing missiles at Arab countries. And, I mean, if any other country did that, I think there'd be a huge hue and outcry. And
they do a good job on domestic issues. They hold truth to power and question the highest office in the country. But when it comes to U.S. foreign policy, especially in the Middle East, especially with Israel, U.S. mainstream media, the old guards, the gatekeepers, can't do an objective job.
The language which we often see in the Western media, particularly the US, around Iran, is generally framed in a certain way. Iran is Nazi Germany, essentially. This is not to defend the Iranian regime by any means, but the fact is that the majority of people who are being killed at the moment are Iranian civilians. But ultimately, much of the Western press demonize them without even speaking to them. And this was happening before Iran for 2.5 years, genocide in Gaza and Israeli war crime.
The similarities to the Western media's coverage of the Gaza genocide are unmistakable. Take that missile strike on the school in southern Iran that killed more than 160 civilians, most of them schoolgirls aged 7 to 12, an attack the UN called a grave violation of humanitarian law. At the time of this recording, neither the US nor Israel had owned up to that attack, which apparently targeted a nearby barracks of the IRGC, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps.
Because we don't actually know for a fact yet what happened with that school.
The disinformation playbook the Israelis have used in Gaza is now being applied in Iran, and too many Western media outlets have played along.
If this would have happened anywhere else, it would have been on the front cover of every news outlet. And the way that it was reported was that we can't verify what happened.
The reports that this may have been an IRGC missile that fell short need to be taken seriously.
Really touting this lie that the IRGC has somehow done this themselves And we saw this exact same pattern happen in Gaza. And that is what is really just dizzying, the same lazy, flattened reporting that we saw in Gaza when it comes to the war on Iran.
The coverage has been very skewed, lacks objectivity. It's covered a third person, that it's not clear who attacked it. And it's just unthinkable if a school was attacked, for example, in Israel, or if this was something that Russia had done in Ukraine, the coverage would have been so different. And we've seen so many examples of this.
Ukrainian officials say as many as 90 people were taking shelter in the school's basement.
It shows the mainstream media industry in the U.S. is in the shadows